What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another War Within video. Hope you're all doing really well. Let's talk about Ellie Shaman and the first build that I want to present to you for Ellie Shaman in the War Within. I think it's really solid. This is, of course, coming off the back of a massive Ellie Shaman talent tree rework. If you haven't seen my previous video on this, go check it out on the channel. I talk all about the actual changes that have come through for Elemental Shaman, all the new talents, and that's in another video. We're going to talk about a fire build today, okay? I'm going to do some comparisons to how the fire build works right now in Dragonflight, which is, again, is the Season 3, Season 4 meatball spam, build. That's coming into the War Within with the Farseer tree in a little bit of a different way. It's not the exact same build. We're going to compare them. I want to make a quick note here about Petco. If you guys don't know who this is, oh, you can't even see him when I put him in the corner like that. He is a really good Elemental Shaman player, and you should absolutely go follow him on Twitch and on YouTube. If you want to know about Elemental Shaman stuff, Petco is the guy, okay? Oh, I haven't even subscribed. I'm so sorry, Petco. I thought I did that earlier. Okay, now you all can flame me for that. So he's very good at Ellie Shaman. Go check him out. He's doing stuff on the beta right now as well. He has a really good build that he's cooked up for the fire build. My fire build is very similar to his. It's slightly, a couple things are a little bit different, but he's really good. Go check him out. I will link him down below in the video description, okay? That's number one. Number two, let's compare the talents. Let's do this really quickly, okay? In Dragonflight right now, this is what your Elemental Shaman tree looks like. In the War Within, it's going to look more like this over here, okay? So important to know the distinction there. Let's take a look at this. So Primordial Wave no longer has rolling magma, okay, underneath of it. It's over here on the right side now. It just has splintered elements underneath of it, and then, of course, liquid magma totem. So you no longer get to cool down Primordial Wave, which I'm a little bit sad about. I enjoyed that gameplay, but instead of Primordial Wave being a 45-second cooldown, it's a 30-second cooldown. So they have just completely removed 15 seconds off the cooldown and said, you know what, we're going to call it even right there. Now, if you're a really good Elemental Shaman, you know that with rolling magma, you could reduce the cooldown of Prime Wave down to being like a 15 to 20 second cooldown. So we can call this like a slight nerf. However, you get to save 2 talent points that you would have spent on rolling magma. You don't have to spend that anymore. You can spend them somewhere else. So I think this is a overall buff, even though we can't cool down Primordial Wave anymore. Let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. This gives you Primordial Wave every 30 seconds on basically every single Mythic Plus pack in a dungeon, and then multiple times in a raid fight. So I think this is a better design overall. It gives you that consistency that you know when your Primordial Wave is coming back up. It's really good that way, okay? That's the first major change. The second major change is that Wind Speakers is gone from the Elemental Shaman tree now. We are retaining Skybreakers. That was the choice note with Wind Speakers, but Wind Speakers is gone. So this whole cadence that you used to have of like Lava Burst, you have enough Maelstrom, send your Earth Shock, and then immediately send that Lava Burst again. Mentally, my brain was just like, my fingers were ready to go. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure you had the same experience where you just knew that you were getting that proc. You're not getting that anymore. It's gone. So we're going to have to learn to live with the fact that we don't always get an instant Lava Surge proc after we use a spender. That's okay, though. Skybreakers is an amazing replacement. I'm actually really glad that this is gone. I don't know what you think about that. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about that. But I like Skybreakers so much more, and we're going to talk about it in a minute. But that's a massive change for the fire build in particular that, we're not going to have anymore, okay? Number 3... Primordial Surge is gone. That was the other talent node that's shared with Splintered Elements. So this was a very popular talent towards the end of Dragonflight. Even right now, a lot of Ellie Shamans are using this. When you cast Primordial Wave, you trigger Lava Surge immediately, and you get it every 3 seconds. So that's gone now as well. So a big reduction in the amount of Lava Surge procs that we're getting. However, I promise you, Skybreakers is going to help to shore that up, especially in AoE. Skybreakers obviously makes your elementals... makes sure Flame Shocks have 50% crit, and then every time they do crit, they're going to reduce the cooldown of Fire Ellie. When Fire Elemental is active, he makes all of your Flame Shocks tick way faster. In fact, if you combine Fire Elemental with Flames of the Cauldron, your Flame Shocks are ticking 50% faster. It's actually 48%, but let's call it 50. 50% faster. They're tick, 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 tick. Every time Flame Shock ticks, there's a chance it gives you a Lava Surge proc. So I think your ability to get Lava Surge procs, even though it's reduced a little bit by not having Primordial Surge anymore, and you don't have wind speakers anymore to give you the guaranteed proc on Lava Surge, you're gonna get a lot of procs with your Fire Elemental being up, and your Fire Elemental will be up basically permanently because you're cooling him down with Skybreakers and with Surge of Power. Every time you press Lava Burst, you cool him down. Every time your Flame Shocks crit, you cool him down. So he's gonna be up permanently. I'm telling you right now, it's basically permanent, which means your Flame Shocks are always ticking faster, you're always getting more Lava Surge procs, and they're doing a crazy amount of damage, okay? That's kind of how that works, all right? Ascendance and Deeply Rooted. Let's talk about this. We now get Ascendance plus Deeply Rooted. This is a massive W for the Fire build. This is huge, guys. I can't stress this enough. Right now we only have Deeply Rooted, and you have to choose between either Ascendance or Deeply Rooted. You don't have that now. Now you get both, and you get a buff in between. You can have a 1-minute Ascendance, or you can have 25% more haste while Ascendance is active. So they kind of took these talents here, Oath of the Farseer, and they separated them and made them better, like way better, okay? And then they got rid of Further Beyond. So this is a very good choice node. Petco in his build did first Ascendant. When I was running this, I did Preeminence just to try it out. I like the haste buff when you're inside Deeply Rooted and when you're inside Ascendance, but I think depending on the packs in the dungeons, depending on the cadence of how quickly you're killing them, a 2-minute Ascendance might be better than a 3. That's something you're gonna have to evaluate on your own, okay? My big point here is to say, you're going to be fishing for Deeply Rooted procs like you do right now, but you also get a guaranteed proc of Ascendance for when the tank goes and pulls some massive pack together. Instead of you just sitting there really hoping that you're going to get a Deeply Rooted proc, you have a guaranteed Ascendance proc. You can set it all up. Get your Fire Elemental up, put your Liquid Magma Totem down, send Primordial Wave, and then just go boom, just send it. And you have a guaranteed way of contributing damage on a big AoE pack that has been planned ahead of time, that your whole team knows this is when we're pulling this big pack. And then the rest of the time you go back to fishing like you normally do, which you get a lot of procs fishing, don't get me wrong, but I just think that having both of these at the same time is such a colossal win for Elemental Shaman and the Fire build. It's really good. Okay, I can't stress that enough. Master the Elements is here. You're obviously proccing this all the time. It's slightly nerfed. It's only 15% instead of 20, but it's still very, very good, and you're proccing this all the time. This primarily is going to be buffing your Earth Shock or your Earthquake, depending on kind of which one you're using there. And then there's a whole new Ice Fury line. Improved Flame Tongue is actually really good. I'll say this really quickly. Improved Flame Tongue is more valuable because you get enhanced imbues. So it takes this from a 5% imbue to a 7, I think, if I just press it. Increases your fire damage dealt by 7%. The baseline one is only 5%, but we're buffing it from our enhanced imbues. So that's really cool, actually. Like that a lot. And then Ice Fury. Let's finish on Ice Fury really quickly here. Ice Fury is now passive, and it is triggered from your Lava Burst casts, okay? Casting Lava Burst has a chance to replace Frost Shock with Ice Fury, and Ice Fury is now instant. So if you press Lava Burst, you're going to get an instant Ice Fury, and then, like, there's a chance, and then you press Ice Fury and it buffs your Frost Shocks. Now, your Ice Fury and your Frost Shocks end up doing a ridiculous amount of damage, especially in single target. There is no more AoE splashing with your Frost Shocks, which I'm a little sad about, but whatever. It's gone. This is just a single target damage bonus, and it hits so incredibly hard, okay? This makes your Frost Shocks hit really hard, and it does a lot of damage, and the bigger thing is it does this, Fusion of the Elements. After casting Ice Fury, the next time you cast a Nature and a Fire spell, I had somebody correct me in my YouTube comments. Thank you for correcting me. I said Nature or Fire spell. It's a Nature and a Fire spell. Wink, wink, Ellie Blast is something you could use with this, okay? You could trigger both at the same time. After casting Ice Fury, the next time you cast a Nature and a Fire spell, you additionally cast Elemental Blast at the target at 60% effectiveness. So the more Ice Fury procs you're getting, the more free Elemental Blast that you're going to be getting, even if you're not running Elemental Blast, but you could if you wanted to, and that would proc this much more easily. This actually ends up being a lot of damage, and this free Elemental Blast that you get can trigger Elemental Equilibrium as well. So lots of really cool synergy there, and it synergizes really well with the Fire build because it procs off of Lava Burst. That's the last thing I want to touch on the tree there, okay? Let's dive into the video. Let me show you the opening kind of pack. This was a stone vault that we ended up doing. And I'm not going to show you the entire dungeon, but I do want to show you a good chunk of it because there's a lot of damage that comes out here. One thing that I'm just noticed with the fire build is that even though we're missing things like wind speakers, which I felt like I was really reliant on, the damage feels very consistent now. And I think part of that has to do with our new mastery, which just buffs all of our elemental damage all the time. And we're a little bit less reliant on overloads, which I think that the fire build in particular was very reliant on overloads because your overloading lava bursts would also cool down primordial wave. And you don't need to do that anymore, right? So you don't need to rely on primordial wave can't be cooled down at all. So there's this like really good consistency that's come with the build. You're less reliant on overloads because your primordial wave just does its own thing no matter what. And then you're also less reliant on deeply rooted procs because you have your own ascendance now. We had a really rough start there. You have your own ascendance now on top of your deeply rooted. So it's like they've really gotten rid of, I would say, a lot of the problematic RNG that existed with the fire build where you're entirely reliant on overloads. So you have to have a lot of mastery scaled in your gear. You're entirely reliant on, what did I just say? Sorry, I'm waiting for a boss fight to start here. Yeah, sorry, your triggers from DRE because you don't have your own ascendant. So those two things are just gone. They're not gone. They still exist in a way, but they've shored up those weaknesses by giving you a 30-second primordial wave and giving you ascendance properly. So I just love it. I think it's really, really good. And I think you're going to notice the damage here on single target is also ridiculous. I'm running Earthshock. Again, Petco ran Ellie Blast. I think that's probably better, but it depends on the fight. This fight requires a lot of mobility. So I liked being able to move around with my Earthshock whenever I needed sort of a movement global. And you can see my Frost Shock is lit up. That's because I cast Ice Fury a second ago and now it's buffed. I got another Ice Fury proc right here, okay? Now I'm inside my true Ascendance form, which I actually hit that a little while ago. I've been in Ascendance for like 25 seconds already. When you're inside Ascendance, you can get a deeply rooted proc, by the way, and it will extend your active Ascendance, which is really, really cool. Our damage is just outrageous on this boss fight. I mean, this is a really good amount of damage, guys. I promise you, I've seen a lot of DPS on the beta so far. And again, it's the beta. Things are subject to change, but I'm happy with where Elemental is at. So hopefully they don't get tweaked too much because this damage is really, really good. Yeah, but this build has a lot of mobility with those Frost Shocks being instant. Earth Shock is instant. Your Lava Surge makes Lava Burst instant. I think there's just a lot of mobility. Your Ice Fury is instant. So if you did take LE Blast, you might actually do more damage, but you're going to be a little bit less mobile. So it's up to you. I think that might, it might depend on what fight you're doing. That might help to dictate really kind of what's going on. These cosmic ascension things that are falling from the sky, that's the new Xalatath mechanic if you haven't seen it yet. So all you have to do is crowd control these in some way. So I can run into the middle of this pack and hit Thunderstorm and it will knock them all up and make them disappear. So right here, boom, they all disappeared. And now we have a 20 stack Xalatath buff, which gives us an enormous amount of haste, which is awesome. Now, if you don't clear these Xalatath guys that are on the ground with CC, they will time out and then they will buff the enemies that are nearby. You do not want that to happen, okay? It will be a wipe, I promise you. I've done it lots of times. So yeah, I just think that I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed with Ellie Shaman and kind of this new build. And I was really worried because we are losing wind speakers and we're losing the cooldown reduction on primary wave. But as I said before, it just feels like it's a lot more steady now. You're less kind of like mountains and valleys and you're a little bit more steady. And I think that that's wonderful. When you do get a bunch of overload procs, of course, it feels really good. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, generally speaking, I think you're a little bit more steady than you were before on the live servers. And I like it a lot. And the incorporation of Ice Fury being passive, I can't tell you how fun that is. This Ice Fury does so much damage. It is amazing. So you can use it for a couple things. Obviously, for single target, I think Ice Fury has a lot of value in that it's going to just blow up a single target. But if you're in an AoE pack and you're doing this fire build, you can kind of funnel that single target damage into that main target. And then obviously have your Flame Shock spread out. They're giving you Lava Surge procs. You're funneling Lava Bursts into one target and the Frost Shocks and Ice Fury into that one target as well. That's a really big deal in my opinion, because I think that it's just going to give you a little bit more of a funnel niche than you already have. I mean, Ellie already has the ability to do that, but it just gets better with the new addition of this Ice Fury Frost Shock combo. So let me show you us getting rid of the next shield here. So he's going to do this reclaim ability. Look at how big his shield is. What you want to do is once the boss gets this shield, you need to collect these dark orbs that are on the ground, okay? They will give you a damage bonus to the shield only. They only give you a damage bonus to the shield, but watch it. We can kind of like annihilate. They'll end up dying here. There's another shield, right? Where is it? I don't know where it is. Must be. Oh, we must have the boss again. Anyway, the point is, early on, I had a shield break here. Here it is here. So I grabbed this little orb, and now I have a debuff. I actually have 3 of them. And because I have 3 of these debuffs, I'm going to annihilate this shield right here. And you're going to watch it just go flying down. Everybody else who didn't pick up any of these debuffs is not going to be able to annihilate this shield as quickly as I am. So that's something you're going to have to work on as a team when you do this fight, and it'll be really good. We'll get to the final boss fight here. This was a bit of a long... Oh, that was a huge Mythic Plus pack. I don't know why I keep going back and forth like this. The damage is really good in AoE. I want to keep emphasizing this. I think I ended up doing 1,000,000 damage per second on this pack right here of only 4 guys. 5 guys. There's 5 guys here. Okay, so I get all my Flame Shocks out, and then boom, I pop my Ascendant. I pop Primordial Wave. I have 2 of my ancestors helping me, and then we just go crazy, right? Your damage is crazy. Okay, we didn't get to do 1,000,000 here. Must be on this next pack. Then the only thing you need to worry about with this build is you still need to be careful about your Liquid Magma Totem usage, and when you're popping Primordial Wave, and when you're using Liquid Magma Totem, when are you recalling your Liquid Magma Totem. You do need to be careful about that. I know lots of people really despise that. They hate that kind of gameplay loop for the fire build. That's fine. Go play the lightning build if you don't like this. It's fine. The lightning build also works. I'm going to do a video on that in a minute, but yeah, the fire build is still very much the same. The real skill cap that you have to think about with the fire build is, how am I managing my Flame Shocks? And again, Surge of Power really helps with that. Every time you use a spender, your next Flame Shock will hit 2 targets instead of 1. So that's really, really good. Your Liquid Magma Totem is really good for it, of course. Whenever you get Ascendance, of course, you're going to refresh all your Flame Shocks. I should have pressed Ascendance right here. I was really dropping the ball. I'm doing 1.4 million. If I pressed Ascendance right here, I would have been doing 1.6, 1.7 million damage per second. So I really kind of dropped the ball there. But this is, you can just see the amount of damage that is possible from the Ellie Shaman build. It's really, really, really strong. Okay, let me go to the end of the video here. We're gonna go to 126.30. This is where I show you my damage. Here we go. So Lava Burst ends up being an enormous part of your damage, as it always is. Flame Shock now is doing way more damage because of Skybreakers, and because of the uptime on your Fire Ellie. He's basically permanent, which is awesome. Our ancestors are doing 9 to 10% of our damage. Really, really solid, actually. Earthquake, there's that Frost Shock, and then Ice Fury down here did 1.7, but Frost Shock actually did 7.1. So all the Ice Fury talents that I took, look at this. All the Ice Fury talents that I took actually accounted for 7.1%. All the Elemental Blasts came because of the Frost Shock talent, so 14.2, and then 15, call it 16% of our damage was because of these the Frost Shock talents. So very, very strong, actually, in the talent tree there with the fire build working together. I think it's awesome. Really, really enjoy that. And this is kind of what your typical fire build is going to end up looking like. If I had taken Ellie Blast myself instead of Earthshock, that would have been a lot more damage as well. So there you go. That is the fire build, guys, for Elemental Shaman. It is very, very strong. I promise you, it's really good. If you want to see more Elemental Shaman gameplay, you can go check out Pecco. I will link him down below. And yeah, he's really, really great. And yeah, but this build is super good. It's essentially the season 3, season 4 fire build brought into the War Within. It's pruned a little bit. You know, you've lost things like wind speakers, sorry. You've lost Primordial Surge. You've lost the cooldown reduction on Primordial Wave, but you don't need it anymore. They have made the build much more manageable, much more steady. I really like that a lot. And you have amazing cooldowns like Primordial Wave, like full-blown Ascendance, plus Deeply Rooted. It's a really solid build, and it works well together now. So let me know what you think in those comments down below. If you're going to play Elemental Shaman in the War Within, I would love to hear from you as well. What are you most excited about heading into the new expansion? Thank you so much for watching, guys. Love you all. I will see you in the next one.